The sermon that I want to do this morning is going to be a lot shorter than normal because we are going to take a break for cake in a little bit. I'm going to sort of segue into this, but you're going to say, like, why did he do this? And I think if I was really, truly honest, the reason why I thought we should do something light and happy and sweet after the sermon is because this is going to be kind of a tough and harsh sermon. I want to talk to parents and grandparents today. That just about includes everybody. And there's some things that I want to say, and I want to encourage you to do as it relates to the spiritual development of your children. And if I don't get the tone right, please forgive me, you know. But the content, please try to hear the content, even if I do make a mistake in terms of tone. I want to start off by saying this. I've been involved in youth work now for well over 35 years. It's just about 40 years that I've been doing youth groups of various kinds, shapes, sizes, ages, and all the rest of it. In all of those years, never once, and I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing, it is just an empirical reality. Never once have I had a member of my youth group, of any of my youth groups, that became an NHL star. It just has not happened. Nor have I had a member of a youth group of mine that has become a ballerina in the Gambetta Canadian. Nor have I had a member of my youth group that has been on Canada's Olympic team. Now, lest anybody say Lorne is against sports, I'll say right away, grow up, you're trying to ignore the point. My point is that stratosphere is very elite indeed. But what I would like to say is, for a lot of parents, the passion, the energy, the dedication, the commitment, the zeal, the money, the exhaustion, the hours, the expense that they put into sports and other activities which are supposedly for the benefits of their children is way out of proportion to the ROI. You know what the ROI is? The return on investment. This I absolutely guarantee you. Every single child I have ever baptized, every Sunday school kid has ever crossed my path, every youth group member it has been a privilege and honor to have in a youth group over 4 decades. Every single one of them has an obligation to be a decent human being. And if they are going to be so, it is because somebody has taught them to be so. Somebody has taken the time and the energy and has had the will to make sure, as parents, grandparents, godparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever, church people, to ensure that those children who do grow up have had information communicated to them that has shaped who and what they are as human beings. And it is not going to happen by accident. And one of the points I want to make is, in our society, we have got it way, way, way out of order. We major in minors and minor in majors. We mess up. And then we are surprised when we got a generation of children that cannot articulate a cogent value system, that don't have answers to the most basic of ethical questions, and seem lost, misguided, misdirected, and subject to every vagary and impulse of the times that they're living in. Now I'm going to say something here, and you can call it prophetic if you want. I'd like you to remember it. And when it happens, say, Lord said this long before it ever happened. Of course, what is entirely possible is when I say this, somebody put up their hand and say, it's already happening. I'm not setting you up, I'm not faking. If it is already happening, I don't know about it, and you will be informing me. The internet and all the technology that we have is an incredible tool for good and for ill. We hear and see and read about this all the time. I will tell you this. One of the most popular pastimes, in fact I was listening to a show about it this week, is taking pictures of self and posting them. Okay? It's a very popular pastime these days. With what technology can do, what we will be experiencing, if we're not already experiencing it in very short order, is people taking pictures of themselves, particularly females, posting them on the internet, and through the miracle of technology, what somebody will do to that picture and post on Facebook a week later will not be anything like the picture she took of herself. If we're not already seeing that, we will very soon. That is the potential of the world we're living in. And no matter what you do as parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles or cousins, the whole list, to try and safeguard your children, they are being brought up in a world in which that is a source of amusement and a lot of other things. In order to have a chance, there has to be intentionality and dedication on the part of parents to educating their children in things spiritual just as much as things academic, and not defaulting and assuming that somebody else is going to take care of it, because they aren't. Has anyone seen on television the ads recently? There's a series of them, teenagers interacting and doing teenage things, and there's usually a switch and a hook in the commercial. And I think it's values.com, a website you can visit that will teach you values. And values that teach you are good in commercials. Parents should be saddened by that. Do not default, do not neglect your role, and do not neglect your responsibility to be spiritual educators, as well as other forms of educators with your children. It is up to you to make sure that your children have what they need to survive and to thrive in this world. And part of that is taking responsibility for the religious education of your children. I'm going to make a suggestion here, and then I'm going to wrap this up, and then we're going to take a break. When you go home today, go home with something in hand. If you don't have a Bible that you could read, a contemporary version of the Bible that you can read with your kids, take one home with you. Lest you feel you are ripping off the church of a magnificent sum of money, we bought them for $2.50 each. So, take a Bible home with you. And please, take a BAS with you, a green book. Take one of those home. Sit down with your kids, go through it with them, and if you don't have any kids at home, take one because you may inherit it someday. Go through it with your kids. Talk about what it is and what's in there. Talk about what it means to you. Have a conversation with your kids about what this is all about. And when, in about 15 minutes, we do the prayer of consecration, sit in the pew. If you want, come up close. If you want, stand around the table with your kids. It's up to you. Feel free to do so if you want. Point out where we are in the service. Point out what's going on and have a discussion with them as to why, Sunday by Sunday, I don't mean during the service, why we have bread and wine in church every Sunday, what it means, why Jesus did it, and what he hopes to accomplish through us, through him. Take responsibility, not implicitly, but explicitly, to educate your children in the things of God. Our job as a church, my job as rector, is, and we fail in this all the time, but we do our best, to present as many and as good options as possible for the spiritual education of the old and the young. But it's up to you to take advantage of what is presented and to take responsibility for the spiritual education of your children. And I hope, and it's a fanciful hope, that someday in society we'll get back to the point where there is as much emphasis and as much dedication to the important things, being a decent human being, decent values, a decent spiritual upbringing in a proper context. As much emphasis on that as there is in making sure that you know how to be a good right winger and score a goal at the opportune time. Because very few people end up playing in the NHL, but everybody ends up playing for the human race. It's a question of how we do it. So that's pretty strong words, folks. And where they come from is, I'm concerned about the times we're living in, and I'm concerned about the default that's going on in society. Somebody will take care of these issues. Well, the first line somebody is mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, and aunt, and uncle, and godparents, and Christian community. I think we need to look again at what it means to take responsibility for the spiritual content of our kids' education. So, that was a little rough today. Part of our education as Christians is that we are part of a Christian community. And when we come in on Sunday morning, we usually sort of say hi to each other and take a couple of minutes. Sometimes we have a cup of coffee, but sometimes the kids are rangy and they want to go and you want to feed them and all the rest of it. So I thought what we do with the rest of my sermon time today, and I am watching my time carefully, is have cake. So, for the next 10 or 15 minutes, please close.